Well, happy holidays. Nova Scotia singer-songwriter Megan Smith and I recently had a conversation. You can catch that here on this podcast, Thinking Out Loud, or you can search it out on our YouTube channel. Just visit saltwire.com for more. Now, Megan Smith is stepping on stage for the very first time in 7 years for a series of holiday shows, and she's choosing to support Feed Nova Scotia through those performances. Well, she says it's an organization that has made a real difference in people's lives. An organization that has seen its operation swell to meet the growing demand of hungry people in our province right now. Now, Charity Intelligence gives them high praise.
This is a 5-star charity. This is one of only 100 charities that we give 5 stars to. So that'd be 2 thumbs up. Feed Nova Scotia is, relative to the other charities we've looked at, best of class.
Who exactly is Charity Intelligence?
I'm Managing Director, Kate Bain at Charity Intelligence.
My name is Liam Chaplow, and I'm a charity analyst, and that essentially encompasses writing the physical charity reports. We have over 830 charity reports on our website, so I am the analyst that digs deep into the numbers, goes through all the results, and puts it all together into one concise report, but a 3-minute read for the donors.
Now, Kate is absolutely crystal clear about one practice that she says you should never, ever, ever give into.
I call it the holdup at the checkout.
I'm Sheldon McLeod, and for Giving Tuesday, I wanted to talk about charities and how you can know which ones are worth your time, your talent, and your treasure, your hard-earned money. This is Thinking Out Loud, the podcast, brought to you by SaltWire, where you can take advantage of our Black Friday offer of unlimited digital access for just $1. Renewal is just $5 a month. You can cancel anytime. Visit saltwire.com for details.
For, I guess, education purposes, what is Charity Intelligence? Who are you?
Charity Intelligence is primarily a website with ratings on Canadian charities. So we have star ratings and reports on over 800 Canadian charities. So donors have the information at their fingertips, and it has become Canada's go-to trusted source for information on charities. So before you give, get some information and make an informed giving decision.
Where did this come from? How did this organization come to be?
It began Charity Intelligence began in 2007. So it's been many years now of doing charity research. It came because 3 of us didn't have information to make giving decisions. We were getting the fundraising decks, the stories, the pitches, but we really wanted to make sure that our giving went where it could do the most good. And we began researching the charities we were giving to, and friends said, hey, could you look at this charity for me? And what do you think of this charity? And it was literally at the kitchen table, writing research reports, sharing them with friends who asked us. And then with the internet, it was like, well, rather than mailing this out, post it on a website. It has been totally humbling how many people care about their giving, value their giving, and are taking the time to read. And one of the biggest feedbacks people tell us is that when they read a Charity Intelligence report, how much they find it helpful, whether it be the snapshot or the star ratings or the different features of the report, but it helps them give with greater confidence. And when people know more about the charities they care for and they support, their giving has gone up 32%. So I really do believe that when we all become more knowledgeable about charities and the work they do in Canada, then we can give with greater confidence.
I was given a link to the website where I was able to search out specifically Nova Scotia charities and how it's rated on a star basis. And some have 1 star, some have 5 stars. Mm-hmm. Liam, tell me a little bit of what goes into analyzing and assessing or appraising these charities.
Absolutely. We have 5 separate metrics that we work on at Charity Intelligence. The biggest 2, in my opinion, is transparency and accountability. So transparency, is this charity financially transparent? Do they post their audited financial statements online. These charities are public organizations, and we believe that information should be public and available, not just a T3010. Accountability, results reporting, does it describe what the money went to? Does it describe what the money bought? Then we have the financial metrics, which is a need for funding. So how much reserves does the charity have? So it's cash and investments versus how much does it grant out? And then cents to the cause. So we have a reasonable range, which we follow the CRA guidelines for. So on every dollar donated, how many cents are available to go to its programs? And then finally, we have impact, demonstrated impact. So this is the other side of charity intelligence, where we measure how much value is created on each dollar that is donated to the charity. And we have about 300 impact profiles on our charities on our website. And those are the 5 metrics.
How do you measure qualitative versus quantitative, though?
What do you mean by that?
When we're talking about the use of the money, how do you evaluate whether it's being used appropriately or used prudently, or in some cases, I guess these are organizations that are soliciting us, and there's lots of competition. Lots of different groups want our money. So how do we know that they're doing good work, I guess?
Yeah, donors have choices, lots of choices, and this is the time to make good choices. If you've got the time, read the charity's annual report. So that's what we call accountability. Understand what the charity is doing, exactly what is it doing. And one of the things we'll see is, comments like, since we were founded, we've helped millions. That's a woolly statement, rather than a charity that says, in 2022, we delivered number of pounds of food to number of people, right? So it's moving away from the woolly words to the real nitty gritty. Do you get an understanding of what this charity did? I don't think we need to be too qualitative. I think stories are nice. I think pictures are nice. But a story is an anecdote, and an anecdote isn't data. And what donors are really looking for, it's some pretty simple questions. How does this charity spend my money? And that should be very simple to answer in a straightforward, frank, and forthright manner. Some charities do that exceptionally well, and others less so. But I think what you noted when you went to the website, Charity Intelligence, you could see the diversity. You've got choices. And some charities are 5 stars, and some charities are 1 star. And understanding, is this charity transparent? Is it open book? Does this charity take the time to be accountable back to its donors? Is it writing an annual report about how it spent the money? What did it do last year? A record of what its work is. And then there are the financial metrics, and the numbers don't lie.
And I just clicked on one in particular, an agency that I've spoken to many, many times over the years, and that's Feed Nova Scotia. And food banks are in the news for obvious reasons over the last several years because of the financial crunch people are finding themselves in. And it says here, cents to the cause, 87%. That's pretty straightforward, but how does that number, and maybe I'll ask you that, Liam, how does the amount of money that is used up in administration or salaries, how does that impact the weighting or the ranking of a charity?
Yeah, we don't like to put too much emphasis on the cents to the cause, and that's why we've developed a reasonable range. And we think it's quite broad. It's from 65 cents to 95 cents. So anything within that reasonable range will get full points toward their profile on our website. So 87 cents to the cause is perfectly within our reasonable range. We don't believe that there should be a complete analysis of a charity on just cents to the cause, because that's just one of the metrics. We see some charities that are quite cheap, right? They have a super high cents to the cause, but they don't actually do anything impactful. And we see some charities that have a very low cents to the cause, but they have extremely high impact on that dollar that you give. So yes, it is important, but it's not the be all and end all. And we kind of see that today in today's day and age, that it's the be all and end all. But we also don't believe that overhead is a myth. So anything within that 65 to 95 cent to the cause range, that gets full points toward our metrics.
So then I would
Jump out
sorry.
the numbers, though, if I may say.
Yeah,
I mean, if
please.
you just look back over the last 3 years, Feed Nova Scotia, 3 years ago, had $3 million in cash and investments, right, to sort of run its programs. Today it has 7.7. It has gone from running a $2.4 million program to a $6 million program. I mean, you can see a charity here that has nearly tripled in the work it is doing. It is distributing 3.1 million kilograms of food to agencies across Nova Scotia and supporting 37,000 Nova Scotians. So when you run these numbers, yes, it's got costs within a reasonable range. It needs funding. It has excellent financial transparency. Its annual report gets an A grade. And when you look at food banks and you measure the work they do, we are seeing really good bang for the buck. And we call that impact. So this is a 5-star charity. This is one of only 100 charities that we give 5 stars to. So that'd be 2 thumbs up. Feed Nova Scotia is, relative to the other charities we've looked at, best of class.
The focus of this conversation was to help us decide when we come into the holiday season, and if we're spending on average close to $800 or $900 over the holidays. I'm sure some of that is going to giving and not just to the amenities of the holidays. So what can we say about what is required for someone to be a responsible donor?
I have no idea. How do you be a responsible donor? I would just say, I mean, if you're a donor, do your homework. Give yourself time. I would say your giving really does matter. And so much of our giving is because somebody asked us for money, we instinctively give. We say yes, rather than giving with intention. And giving yourself the time. One of the things we work on a lot with people is they will say, I really care about A, B, and C. But when you look at their giving list, and they have lists of where their money actually went, it went to charities that asked them for money and not to the causes that really matter to them. And sometimes just making a list, and I know people want giving to be spontaneous and from the heart, but sometimes giving, like making out a list and just saying, hey, hang on a sec. Why am I giving so much to that? Oh, that's because so-and-so asked me to. Rather than, I really care about other causes and other issues. So it's I would say, taking control of your giving and giving with intention. That's what I would hope would be a responsible donor.
Any comment, Liam?
Yeah, I would say that we have this problem, this generational problem, that donors want to make a difference, and they even expect to make a difference when they make a donation. But a lot of that money is going to charities that have little impact, as Kate said, that don't make a difference. And this to us is extremely frustrating. We, as a society, we give with emotion and we give with a sense of trust, but sometimes it's a sort of blind trust. So the charities with the biggest names and the biggest marketing budgets, they're the ones that are knocking on your door. They're the ones that are advertising on all of our social medias. And they're the ones that are in our heads all the time that we think about. But they're not, just because they're the biggest, doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best, that they're the ones that have impact. And in fact, sometimes, according to our analysis, it's the contrary. So we expect our donation to have this greatest impact, but we don't always do our research. Some examples of this is hospital foundations. From our research, we know that they receive incredible amounts of money without spending anywhere near the amount that they receive. This results in a lot of reserves being built up year over year over year. International aid is a bit of a mixed bag. Some are really, really high impact, as you'll see on our website, but others are low impact and, again, receive a lot of donations, and they're the ones that you know, the names that you know, the names that you hear about. So I would say that it's important to have information. So in this giving season, treat your donation like you would an investment. Do your research. Charity Intelligence, we have our top 100 lists of our 5-star charities. We have our top 10 impact lists of charities that really do make a difference in people's lives. So if you want your donation, your hard-earned money to go and make a real difference, do your research and feel safe and confident that your donation is doing good.
At the risk of asking a question that I have no idea how you'll answer, what is your thought on, retailers that ask you to give at the pin pad, at the checkout, who say, give your money towards, and they may name any number of charities that they say they are helping to support? Any words on that?
Yeah, absolutely. On the record for many years now on that. I call it the holdup at the checkout. And exactly as Liam pointed out, it's an instinctive, you're a high pressure situation. Somebody's asking you to give just a toonie or something. Say no, thank you. Your giving really matters, and those toonies add up. And you want to get a tax receipt for your giving. You want to give online rather to whatever some corporation or some store manager, in their opinion, is a worthy cause. So with absolutely no guilt, say no, thank you. Move on.
Very succinct answer. And I assume that's in part because these corporations are the ones then giving, they will receive the tax receipt. Am I off base there to suggest that?
It's all over the map. It's all over the map, and it can be more complicated. How corporations raise money for their causes. So we see great practices, and we see practices where there is no disclosure and no transparency. So it's difficult to make a blanket statement. The McHappy Day, when you go to McDonald's that one day of the year, all of that money goes to the Ronald McDonald houses. So there you have really good, clear line of sight. For other retailers, it's much more blurry, much more obscured. And I would just always say, just say no thank you. With a smile. Don't need to get pushy. Don't need to start asking the cashier girl for information about a charity because she's just been told to do this by her boss. That's not fair, right? So just say no thank you and move on.
Lots of information here to digest. So I will, before we finish, ask Liam, is there anything else that you think is important to the conversation that I didn't ask?
I don't believe so. I think Kate really highlighted it at the end there as well. Your donation matters. Every toonie that you give matters. So I think that's the key piece. Your donation matters. Canadians are relying on you, and do your research.
Kate, any final thoughts?
Questions? Go to the website. We also, Liam and I will be working up until the wee hours of New Year's Eve. Everybody's doing their tax giving. They want to get their tax credit. So we'll be working. These next 6 weeks are busy, but Liam and I are here on standby at Charity Intelligence to answer any question you have.
Make sure you like and subscribe and give your comments. That's how we grow this channel. This is Thinking Out Loud, the podcast, brought to you by SaltWire. You can take advantage of our Black Friday offer now of unlimited digital access for just $1. Renewal is just $5 a month. You can cancel anytime. Visit saltwire.com for details.